Hello there. Just wanted to share with you a little idea I've had about walking in Hulton Park at the moment. We're all pretty familiar with the concept of an adventure, but that conjures up ideas of climbing Mount Everest or all sorts of grand things. But quite a lot of these things are well and truly beyond the majority of us. And so it's still there's a bit of the spirit of adventure in a lot of us. So I thought this little scheme I've got was to have a series of micro ventures, just little adventures that don't take up a lot of time, get me away from the normal sort of everyday life, out into the countryside, and just to spend one night out in the wilds. So that's the plan. I'm going to do a series of these little micro ventures and make short videos of them. The essence of the whole thing is to travel very, very light, just to have a little bivvy as an overnight shelter, carry a small stove, and that's the general idea. I've got specific ideas about nutrition and hydration, that sort of thing, but that's my sort of general idea anyway. So in terms of accommodation, the plan is very, very simple. I'm going to carry a lightweight sleeping bag, air mattress, and a little bivvy bag, nothing more than that. I'm not taking a tent or anything like that. I'm going to restrict the water I take to 2 litres, and I'll talk about nutrition in a minute or two, but the plan is to survive on body fat. Our human ancestors, a very, very good system for carrying energy around, and you see campers out and about with they've got cans of beer and lumps of cheese, they've got beef burgers, sausages, pre-packed meals, all the rest of it. But in fact what we've got, most of us around our midriffs, is a pre-laid down food supply, and that's what I intend to use for my little micro or mini ventures. Obviously I'm going to take some food with me, which I'll talk about a bit later on, but primarily these little trips are going to be fueled by body fat. So talk a little bit about nutrition, which I've mentioned a couple of times. The normal calorie requirement for someone of my sort of height, weight, my sort of build is about 2,500 calories a day. Carrying a pack and walking probably 10-20 miles, probably something like 3,500-4,000 at a guess. It's always an estimate, but something like that. My plan on these little mini ventures is to take a maximum of 1,000 calories a day with me in food. So I'll be burning something in the order of 3,500 calories I would expect, on top of the food that I actually eat during one of these little jaunts. That should mean that I'm going to use I would say about half a pound to a pound of body fat during one of these little trips, which is absolutely fine. I've certainly got that that I can be going at. I'm not putting myself in any sort of danger at all. I'm just going to eat enough just to maintain my blood glucose level, so that I feel okay and can still enjoy myself. But to live, say, much more naturally in terms of using up my energy stores rather than carting a great load of stuff around with me. And I hope that will just bring a bit of a different dimension to these trips. Okay, so covered a little bit about nutrition, or my plan for nutrition on these little jaunts. The other thing, of course, is gear. We're all interested in gear, stoves, fuel, sleeping bags, bivvy bags, mats, all the rest of it. Most people are interested in what people are using, how they find them, this sort of thing. Sometimes when you look at reviews of things, they're frankly I find them a bit overpowering. So I thought what I'd do, rather than try and talk about all the gear on one of these little trips, is on each trip I'll just select one item. So it might be a stove, or it might be a bivvy bag, or it might be a water bottle, or a sleeping mat, or whatever, and just say what I'm using, how I find it. And so there'll be sort of a, what you might call a gear focus at some point in each of these little videos. But the main thing, really, the main purpose of it all is not really to do gear reviews, but to just show, perhaps try to illustrate to people that little adventures, mini ventures, are accessible to all of us, even when we've got limited time. Because my plan is to go out sort of late afternoon, to walk for maybe 3 hours, arrive where I'm going to sleep, just make a cup of coffee, have a small bite to eat, straight into the bivvy bag, sleep, wake up at first light and off again, and back home the following morning. So I'm not actually going to be away from home for any great length of time at all. In fact, I think I'll probably in some ways hardly be missed. So someone who's got a busy life, family, wife, kids, job, all these sorts of things, I think this sort of thing can make the ideal little little getaway, and a little bit of get back to nature. Anyway, it'll might give a few people a few ideas. So where am I going to go on these little trips? Well, that's as yet undecided. I do have a sort of long-standing interest in all the ancient hill forts. There are a lot of those in Northumberland where our ancestors from thousands of years ago used to live in these little enclosures up on the tops of little hills, and they've always been a fascination for me. So I quite like to go and spend some nights up on those. But initially I'm going to do what I think is probably the sensible thing, and I'm just going to set off from home, and I'm going to walk to a local campsite, test out all my gear, make sure everything's okay, make sure I've not made any stupid bad decisions. I'd rather find out locally that I've forgotten something or whatever, and then I'll draw up a list, because I like lists, and then I'll be all set for my future trips. Say up to the hill forts, and there's quite a lot of bothies up in the Cheviot Hills in Northumberland, so it'd be nice to go and visit those. So I've got no really sort of fixed ideas. The whole thing is just a way to get out into the countryside, do something different, and have a little sort of adventure without it say costing an arm and a leg, and hopefully it'll be a good experience. So you'll certainly have gathered that I'm not intending to make this a luxury sort of experience, but hopefully a sort of a minimalist but comfortable one. The only sort of exception to that is that I am going to sort of, in a hope that these things might encourage other people to have a go at this sort of thing. If it works out, I am going to try and make a decent video record, and with that in mind I'm going to take a decent video camera with me. There's nothing worse from my point of view of ending up in a good situation, doing something that's that you want to have a decent record of for Lorena and I to look back on in the future, and all you've got is a sort of a mobile phone that'll shoot crummy sort of VGA video and this sort of thing, or you can't stabilise things properly, and so that everything's all shaky. So I am going to sort of burden myself somewhat by taking a decent video camera with me, so that at least, good or bad, I do have a decent record of these little trips. So I'm going to try that anyway. If it turns out that it's just too much hassle and too much aggravation, then I'll ditch that and think again, and perhaps use a little GoPro or something like that. But I'm going to start off by trying to see if I can manage to take some decent stuff. And I'll take it from there. But I think whether it turns out well or turns out badly, either way, it's going to be interesting. So I guess the main purpose behind this little scheme of mine is to get myself back out into the countryside and do the sorts of things that I used to do when I was a lot younger. I think realistically, if I don't do this sort of thing now, I've got the time to do it now, and Lorena's happy for me to do it, and I'm not going to start doing it when I'm 70 or something like that. So it's really a question of, I think if you think about something and think, oh, that might be quite fun, then you've just got to go out and do it. So it's to get back out into the countryside, to challenge myself a little bit. Carrying a pack around and things isn't something I've done for a few years. Bit of navigation, I think, again, and just to get into different areas. I think it's very easy to settle into your little sort of comfortable niche at home, where you're not sort of really challenged at all. Everything's pretty much under your own control. And I just think it'll be nice to go into an environment where you've not got a lot of sort of complicated equipment and all this sort of thing. So it's really quite simple. And just to go to some of these little hill forts and see, well, the stars and the countryside and things are the rocks and outcrops, all this sort of thing, are what our ancestors were looking at thousands of years ago. I just think it'll be quite a nice thing to do, and just to spend a bit of time, chucking stones in the stream and just having a different experience. I think that's really what it's all about for me. So that's pretty much it, really, in terms of what my little mini ventures are going to involve. So the first one will be when I just go and do a bit of a trial run, which I mentioned, to local campsite, see how that goes, and I'll produce a little video of that if anybody's interested. And once that's done, it's off out into the wilds of the Cheviot Hills and see what sort of experiences I have there. If nothing else, it's going to expose me to different environments, to different scenery, just completely different experiences. One of the things I haven't mentioned that I'm looking forward to most is heading for areas where there's very, very little by way of light pollution, because I love looking at the stars, and it will be great to really be away from light pollution. Even small towns cause big problems, and that'll be an experience I'm looking forward to, especially if I get a clear night up on some of the hilltops. That will be really excellent. So it's all going to be good fun. Not much food, live off body fat, not a lot of equipment, just enough to hopefully keep me warm enough, though I'm sure I'll have some cold nights. And we'll just see how it goes, and I'll report back. And I just hope it goes well, and because it's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I hope it goes well, and I hope that if the little videos are of interest, that some other people decide to give it a go and get some pleasure out of it. Just going to get a few days like this. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. But thanks for listening, and I'll let you know how I get on. That's good or bad. Cheers. Bye.